there we are.
The views and opinions expressed within the video content found on the Indie Comics Network are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Indie Comics Network or Ragin 2 Promotion.
Oh, hello there. You just caught me in the middle of making a drink. While I'm doing that, here's a disembodied voice that'll talk to you about what this commercial is about.
Thanks, sellout me. Shots with Comics is a podcast with artists and writers Chad Perkins, Kit Bonitis Jaspering, and Blake Matthias. They'll give you a brutally honest review of the comics they are reading. Do they love it? Do they hate it? They'll tell you while drinking their traumas away. If this sounds terrible, then join us Monday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Indie Comics Podcast Network for this aggressive comedy review show and sellout commercial.
Oh, crap.
Oh, that was a cameo, folks, in case you missed it. There's a producer sitting right there. Yeah.
Oh, well.
She's operating the show today. Yeah.
It's okay. It's a Saturday. It's okay.
Right.
We understand. We understand.
Oh, you'll see it on the replay. Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sketchy Saturday. Of course, we have our usual panel lined up. I'm C. Michael Lanning. Mike Jimmy's working remote today, so I'll be yelling at you a little bit. telling you who I am. I am an independent graphic translator who's done work for Arrow Comics and others, soon to be coming. And today I'll be working on a past project, kind of adding a little flair to it. Mike Jimmy, go ahead, introduce yourself. Let them know what
everyone.
you're working on.
I'm Mike Jimmy de Bruin of Fairies and Ends, creator of Love and Korra, and right now I am finally pushing myself on inking Love and Korra 6 again. Because I am way behind. It should have been done in March. So, gotta kick my own ass and accept that. But here we are. I'm on the road, as you said. And I'm at the other side of the Netherlands. And this was the best way of getting this whole thing set up. And so far, things seem to be working. So let's keep it like this.
Yeah, you sound pretty clear. So you
well, good. I'm very glad, honestly.
All right. Mr. John Celestri, I'm going to put your work up while you introduce yourself and tell us what you're working on, sir.
Okay, I'm John Celestri. I'm a classic 2D animator from back in the 70s, and I animated Boba Fett in the Star Wars Holiday Special, Dragon's Lair, Space Ace, He-Man, She-Ra, Rock and Rule, and a whole bunch of other things. And I'm doing I do have a comic book series, the Bloodwing Angel Chronicles, that's on Kickstarter now. But today I'm going to be filling out an exposure sheet, or an X sheet, as we would call it in the production of the old school way of, designing, and figuring out what my animation is going to be like, and timing it and getting it ready for camera. Because this is how the camera would follow these instructions of how many frames to shoot each drawing I would have. And so therefore, that's what I'm going to be doing today.
All right. Awesome. MarV. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey.
Tell us about yourself.
How are you? Yeah, I'm a recreator of the miniseries This Thing Killer that will be soon on Kickstarter. And Monday or Tuesday, I will get the print run. So, yeah. Soon also I will have t-shirts. I'll be working on that during the week. Next week I'll be checking on a local shop, and I'll be putting 2 t-shirts for the Kickstarter campaign that I don't know when I'm going to launch, but soon. And yeah, I've been working on Michael Hunter of Man. This is page 1, and that's what I'm going to do now. But usually when I'm on stream, I can see what other people are showing. So today I'm going to work on this page and page 2, but I'll be checking out what you guys are doing, because that's why I have the camera set up like this today. So let's
all right.
All right.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's look at the chats here. We've got Vincinia Designs joining us. Morning.
Good morning.
Hey.
And look, if I say your name wrong, it's a thing here. I just do it. I try.
Don't apologize.
Hey guys, and Nita. And of course, Mr. Glenn Fleming. Hey guys, working on my own animation today. It's coming along nicely. Really pleased.
Awesome.
And he also says, Nita. I guess that's how you would say that. But for this week, guys, it's been kind of a sad week. We
Really?
lost a giant in animation art this week.
Yeah.
And I'm talking, of course, about Kim Jong-ji. If you ever see him work, he doesn't have grid lines. He doesn't have it. He works the way he does perspective is he just kind of pulls it out of the air. He's kind of a real magician.
That guy was a mutant. He was a mutant.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, 47 years old and he's just gone. It's just sad.
Oh, that is that is way too soon.
Oh, I'm telling you, but
people said that he had photographic memory. When they asked that to him in an interview that I saw a couple of months ago, he said, "No, I'm just interested in knowing how things work. So every time that he wanted to draw something, he will just pick up whatever it was and look at it on every angle, and then memorize it, and just he was able to project like Kirby did his own stuff on directly to the paper. He was able to do it the same thing. So yeah, he had a different kind of way to look at the world that most of people can't
Right.
don't be able to do it. So that was his secret, the way that he was looking at things and drawing all the time, because he was drawing all the time.
Right.
Incredible.
I think in all honesty, talent really boils down to how you see things.
Yes.
How well you
Yes.
perceive things. Sometimes it's just the way your brain works. And he was able to understand how to draw. Like these books I have here is how to think when you draw. You're thinking about, like, for instance, in your 3D space, when you're drawing, you gotta think it's in a form, not just a flat
Exactly.
flat drawing.
Mm-hmm.
So he was really good at just being able to see that form. Like, kind of like a mutant. If you were to tell me that he was a mutant, it wouldn't surprise me.
No, fair. But I have that with quite a few people, so.
But watching him, I always look at him, and he never uses construction lines and stuff. He just draws.
No.
And
Yeah.
I was thinking, I don't know if I want to achieve that. And the reason why is because I kind of like the techniques.
I get you. Yeah.
I don't think like
very,
that.
very interesting way of looking at it.
Like not necessarily everything. I mean, like backgrounds. That would be too bad of a problem. But putting together a figure or something like that, I do like some of the. Like you'll see, I'll use contour lines, which is basically, for those watching who might not know, is this kind of like, see this form here I have on the screen here. Let me put it up here real quick. I have these forms here, and if I want to give them volume, I kind of add some forms, some lines there to give you an idea of what that is, and it really helps you to see. And of course, I'm talking to people watching in the replay or right now. It really helps you to see the form into 3D. And I just kind of like working in that. I don't know. It works for me.
I mean, it really helps because you often forget what surface, like what a surface actually is following, and creating those surface lines really can make a whole difference between something that just looks off or properly works, and follows the contours of the entire object. And if that is something that you as a creator struggle with, then it really helps if you do that.
Yeah, I was going to say when you put one line in front of another, you are encasing a shape. You're making everything is very everything is symbolic. So the line is symbolic, so that your eye you're filling in what it's encasing, and so therefore it's really important as to where you put the, like the bicep line when it's connecting through the elbow and the forearm. Is the line cut in front or behind?
Right.
And just as simple as that will throw it off or make it feel right.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. It's crazy how when you apply those things, just that little bit of something, and it changes your whole perception of what you're looking at.
Right. Yeah.
And it really helps.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't realize.
It's really important to understand, the tool that you're working with. The line is so important, and and understanding where you're placing that line will make or break, the impression you're trying to get across.
Oh yes. And you could get to a point where you don't need that, but I kind of like it. I like that process.
I mean, if it makes your life easier anyway, and even though you could do it without, if it works for you, like that's fine. Like that is perfectly okay. There is no wrong way to art, and
right, yeah.
Just because, it may look like it's keeping you back as an artist, just as easily you stop doing it and you forget about, the details, and it actually stops making sense because you didn't pay attention.
Yeah.
And honestly, I had that exact problem as well, because I completely forgot half the details about this character in this sketch. So I had to do a little analog fixing in the sketch.
Let's see. I'm going to put you up so we can take a good look at you.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, the feet is new. I emphasized, and I forgot his ear, like the ears and the extra feathers on the neck and stuff. And it's actually a pretty hard pose, because I think it took me like 3 days. But yeah, I forgot half the things in there. Like I barely got the shape right, and I forgot the feathers over here as well. So I'm gonna have to fix that real quick. Oh well,
Yeah, it never ends.
Oh no, it doesn't. Let me take care of that, because luckily that is a very quick fix for this guy. There we are. There we go. All done.
Right. And this is for the next Life on Korra?
That's right.
Cool.
So this is page 22B, and 22C is behind here as well. I should be able to finish both of them before the stream ends. They're very easy, quick panels, because they're very high on action, so the background is pretty much non-existent. And I love it when my colorist goes absolutely apeshit with them when I put in nothing. So this is going to be completely her, and I will love her for it.
What's the name of your colorist?
Aristine. She prefers to stay anonymous on the internet for the most part. But I had worked with her before Love and Korra with something. And she pretty much exactly fits the style that I wanted for this comic. And while she wants to be somewhat anonymous, she does have an online presence. But I would have to look up her Instagram if I wanted to share it real quick. But sadly, I'm on my phone, so I can't really look things up.
Oh well. Man, you can, the good thing about it is, and it goes for anybody that's watching this on the replay too, leave a comment. You can come back, you can put in the comments and people can see. And of course, you out there can leave a comment. If we don't see it this time, we'll try our best to answer it at least, if not in the comments, maybe next week. Exactly. A question or an observation or anything like that was more than welcome. Oh, and if this is your first time, make sure you like, subscribe, and of course share. We like a lot of sharing around here. We share information, stories.
We pay it forward.
Yeah, right.
No, it's really fun to.
Oh yeah.
To be hanging out with you guys again. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was telling John. I saw somebody post up something they're talking about what soundtracks they like to listen to, and Rock and Roll came up.
Oh.
I
was like,
okay.
I know somebody.
Well, that's a small world suddenly. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't familiar with it. I mean, it was new to me, but I checked out some of it. A crazy show, huh?
Yeah, if you're going to talk about rock and roll, that's a kind of an all-star track of late 70s, early 80s music. In fact, it would be late 70s because the everybody who worked on that had been superstars prior to that. So when we started working on it in 1980 on the film, that was all, they started playing with that. And so, you've got Cheap Trick, you've got Deborah Harry of Blondie, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Iggy Pop, Lou Reed. Well,
wow.
Are you just naming my playlist right now, or?
Yeah. That's what happens, You start playing with that, and then.
So were you listening? So were y'all listening to the music while you were animating, or did that help?
Oh yeah, well you have to. You have to do it that way. You can't just, fake it. I mean, you can, but you really need to listen to the music to be able to do your performance, because you're also you're also doing the singing,
right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you're playing with, okay, here's your basic thing. This is the exposure sheet time. Okay, let me get this out of the way here and here. Okay, so yeah, here's an exposure sheet, and in this particular case, we are talking about here's I'll put down. You see these X's, okay? That would be the beat. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and that there's 3 beats a second, because that's 24 frames a second, right there. So you have your downbeat, and then you'd hit. So those are your basic beats there, but you might have like hit, but this would be say you'd have a down here, so it's every 16 frames, would be a hit, but you would also have an up, because so you could have you have your downbeat, then it's an up, so you go bop, 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 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and your basic music. So you have your tick tock, tick tock. It's your metronome. And so
yeah.
okay, and you can, if you so yeah, that's what we would do. You break down the music into beats and where the dialogue would be, where the singing would be. It gets quite complicated, but it's really simple at the same time.
Anyway, I mean, it would come down to like the same kind of thing you want to do for lip syncing, where you want to line everything up properly with exactly what is going on visually and through the audio. So in order to get that, you gotta having. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, for example, and I'm just going to make this up, but because help, okay, help, right here. So you could see where the H would be, and that's the beginning of the breath. The help is right there on the 3. That's where the third frame. And let me just get this up closer here. Let's see, can you see? Yeah, okay, we're good. So the H is a breath. So the mouth is already started. The how. So you'd open your mouth on drawing 1, okay, but it really widen it on 3. The L here is already starting to close here. So what we might do is throw in a drawing instead of it being on 2. I'm saying this is 1 exposure, 2 exposures. This is a 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Instead of filling in all, if you're going to double expose the drawing, it makes no sense to have it, 1, 1, 3, that sort of thing. So just have that 1. That's 2 frames, 2 frames, and then the fifth drawing or the 5th frame is on 1s, and then you put the middle transition to the L and the P. It's on the 9th drawing. So you've got going on here, and then you might even open up there, and then it's just bang. And then it's a multiple exposed drawing, animation, so that it's not all on 1s and it's not all on 2s. That gives you snap. So that's your the first lesson of exposing. But you get to write. So anyway, we're talking about music and how we would do that.
Yeah. So was it harder to do it with the music than it was for just normal talking, normal dialogue, or?
Well, what you're doing is everything isn't all there. Like you know what the beats are, and you're listening to the soundtrack, on cassette, and you are listening to the music, but you also have the breakdown of what the beats are and what the dialogue is, what the singing is. So those are on your sheets, and you have that to look at, and you have the analysis. But you're not writing down. Sometimes you will. You won't just write it as you would spell it. Many times it's phonetically broken down, the dialogue. Because dialogue is sound. So to create the sound, you have to know what the sound looks like. And that's all you're doing. And many times, as long as the character looks like they're saying what they're saying with their eyes and with their gesture, many times you don't have to be exactly right in the lip sync. As long as you have the opened and closed correctly, then you're good.
I mean, especially in anime, you see that where the lip flaps are so pretty, essentially so basic that you can translate it to any language and it will work because of it.
Yeah. Well, that's how they figured out how to do dubbed anime, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be able to write it to those phonetics.
Yeah.
Well,
it used to be really bad years ago.
Well, you look at really good dubbed live action. When when you're doing that, we're watching a Spanish series on Netflix. Was it the Cook of something? It's a Spanish series for a short, and there's so much they're conveying with their eyes and their gestures, and it's a very physically acted show. It takes place during the 1700s, and so you've got all of this. It's all in Spanish, but it was originally in Spanish, but it's dubbed in English. And what you can say. Well, the dialogue, the mouths are all off.
Yeah,
but the attitude of the actors physically just carry everything through. And the dialogue is there, but they're not saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Chad from our Shots with Comics right here on the Indie Comics Network says facial expressions can tell more of a story than dialogue at times.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
And he says, my eyesight is based on movement, much like the Tyrannosaurus Rex. So, at least for Jurassic Park standard, anyway.
My good sir, don't call yourself a predator. That causes trouble.
It has a whole nother meaning for you.
Well, that is one sheet done. Woo! Off to the next. Let me give them some shadows.
So, so how about it when you're working and you're not in these streams talking to people? Do you have a television or something in front of you, or music going? What motivates you to keep going?
For all of us?
Yeah, for whoever.
I am a gigantic podcast fan, so I can listen to podcasts for hours on end. I've lately been binging Welcome to Night Vale again.
What's that about?
Eldritch horror in a desert town that technically doesn't exist to the outside world. And it's hilarious, and it doesn't take itself serious, and it's hard to explain. But it's a radio show, quote unquote, and it's a news reporter reporting about all the weird things that happen in that little desert town. So today, a glowy cloud, a great glowy cloud came over Night Vale. Oh, hail glowy cloud!
It sounds kind of like a satire take on the War of the Worlds type of broadcast.
But there is some proper world building in there as well, and there's an ongoing storyline that sometimes literally took like 50 episodes to round itself up, and it's really one of the best written performances that I know of.
Yeah,
like legitimately, if you want to have a good laugh, but also have something that you don't have to listen to too intently, that is definitely one thing to suggest. And otherwise, I'll put on country or some rock or radio or whatever. But as long as I don't have silence.
Right. Well, I've actually seen someone make the comment, writing a book. They, how to draw that when you do, and it was an animation book actually. When you do this, you have to shut everything off and work in complete silence.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it depends. I'm gonna jump in right here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It really depends on your on what you're doing. If you are doing cleanups, you don't have to do it. If you're animating, well, you can't. You've got to focus.
Yes.
Right.
You have to focus. I mean, and you focus because you have a direct line from how you're feeling your drawing from within onto that page. And if you're and that's even timing. Anything where you are creating totally from scratch. I don't know how anybody else can have music and anything else interfering.
No, when I'm animating, I can't. Like, legitimately, I have to just have silence around me, or especially trying to lip sync and getting that in there. No, like, I need just that, and I'm gonna hear the same sentence like a million times anyway. So you need to get used to it.
Right.
But the moment I get into cleaning or just clearing things up,
that's a very different thing. And so and it is and a lot of people can't do it.
No.
Yeah. A lot of people just can't do that, and because they say, "Oh, I'm bored," or "I can't focus." Well, the thing is that you have to be able to focus, because you can't get anything. You won't get anything done without focusing.
Yeah, for me it works a little bit differently, because when I have to do something, especially fast, I put some soundtracks. Basically, most of the time, 90% of the time, I have to listen to Hans Zimmer, especially especially the Man of Steel soundtrack. And lately, I've been listening to The Mandalorian, and a lot of Alan Silvestri too. Alan Silvestri. And everything related to soundtracks, Predator, whatever it comes to my mind. I love also a lot of the first Alien soundtrack when it comes to do backgrounds or whatever. But if I have to do a lot of work and fast, I have to listen to Man of Steel. That works a lot for me, and some metal if I'm doing something really dark, I have to listen to Amorphis, or let's say everything related to the 80s heavy metal, Megadeth, some Metallica, rarely Metallica, but especially Megadeth.
Oh yeah, I feel you. If I have to get something done, power metal all the way.
Yeah. Yes, yes, and yes.
I tell you what, you want a really bombastic soundtrack that's very, very grandiose, I guess. Is take a listen to Danny Elfman's Batman Returns soundtrack. Oh my gosh!
Ooh,
yeah,
that was a good one.
Yeah.
Yes.
That says, when writing, I like matching the music to what I'm writing. So if I'm writing a noir setting, I'll listen to 1920s and 40s music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To get into the mood.
Yeah.
He also says Whitechapel.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't know that
Glenn
one.
says I listen to audio plays as well as music.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like
Yeah.
podcasts and audio plays are such a good way to just
The podcast
to have
too,
someone
yes.
around, but but only through your ears. And yeah, especially podcasts lately have really been keeping me up on concentration
Mhm.
because of
Oh,
that. Because at some point, I don't know, music just doesn't cut it for me anymore, and I need voices. But especially when I'm animating, because I can't have people actually actively talking. So if I to put on a podcast, it just does me a lot more good.
right.
Mhm.
Right.
Especially on Ragin's channel, on the Indie Network, on the Comics Network channel, right?
Yeah, there you go. A nice plug
Yeah.
there over me. uh, what about you, John? I know not animating, but when you're doing the Bloodwing Angel comic or your others.
Oh, well, when I'm drawing, I listen to jazz.
Oh,
Okay,
cool.
I can
I,
see
I,
that.
I listen to a lot of the. Well, it really depends. I mean, whatever I can find on the internet. There's a lot of there's classical jazz stations, but there's also on YouTube. There's a bunch of channels that have um, you know
Mixes.
Yeah.
yeah, and they
Playlists.
also run albums.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They'll run albums, so that's it's all pretty pretty interesting material that you could find, and it's really cool. But you get to and then you'll go. It sets a mood.
Oh yeah.
I'm not looking for something to rev me up. I'm just allowing me to focus also because you know what? I'm always focusing. And the reason that is because I don't draw very well.
What?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I fake a lot.
Okay, John. Here's
Yep.
here's a very small little insight into all of our minds. We all do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I know. I know. I've seen a lot of people, but some of us are more successful at faking than others.
Well, this is true.
This is true.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, I
Yeah.
mean, if but when I say that is because I'm consciously aware that people may not actually be studying what I'm doing, but they'll feel what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why, I'll say, okay, because I draw with with basic line, every line has to count.
Yeah.
And so
Uh,
I'm looking at it from that point of view and saying, okay, do I need this line here? Is the line I am judging myself. I'm editing what I'm doing as I'm drawing, and but that's the way I've always done it.
And
I was going to say one thing is that it goes back to the days of with animation. Every line had to be counted because you had to move the shape that line encased.
Yeah.
So therefore, you're rotating, and also the drawing was going to be re-inked.
mhm.
And so it's not just what I did; it was what the inker had to do following me up.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot to think about, and so making it very simple was my being able to move it across the screen.
Mhm.
You know, everything had to be redrawn and in between, and so that's and also in terms of how quick, because a lot of times you had to if you spent 20 minutes on a drawing and an in between it, that was a lot of time.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, that is
Or
very long.
no, let's put it. Some of the rock and roll drawings took an hour to draw.
I can believe that. Don't get me wrong, but like for a big part, if you're moving something, unless you really can't get the movement right, you don't want to focus too much on the heavy and clear line work. So to have an hour spent on that, woo.
Yeah, well, no. Well, here's the thing: is that when you're doing close-ups and you're doing lip sync,
yes,
everything is tight. You take a look at a lot of the classic animators.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't moving that face around very much. You
Yeah.
know, they are. It's even though there's a lot of expression going on, there's a lot of tight, controlled
Mm-hmm.
drawing. Look at Peter Pan. Look at Captain Hook. It's everything, and also the drawings are moving slowly, but there's a lot of expression going on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you're talking about a drawing that's no more than like maybe it's about 10 inches tall, and that screen and it has to hold up on a screen that's 30 feet high,
Yeah.
40 feet wide. So there's a certain amount of pencil control that has to be there, but also you can't do too many lines because everything will start flickering.
Yeah.
So yeah. So as I said, this is my training, and that's what I had to what I had to do, and that's made it feel very. I'm always conscious of that when I'm doing my posing.
And honestly, it's one of the biggest appeals I have for your art is the fact that it is incredibly pleasant and easy to look at because every line, and you actually really make every line count. And it makes it work, and it makes it approachable.
I'm sorry, I buzzed out. It's approachable.
But, yeah, your art is approachable because of how easy you are in your line weight and your line importance. Like your line importance is very high, but your line weight often is a lot lower, or pretty same-ish.
It carries a confidence.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that is something that a lot of creators will over-render because they're not entirely sure about, if what they're doing with their inking actually holds itself up.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a book, The Art of Inking, and I don't even think it's in publication anymore. It's an older book, and the guy was saying he was talking to a few inkers, and almost every inker he came across where he wanted to interview them, they were reluctant to be interviewed. And the reason is because none of them thought they were that good.
Uh-huh.
And of course these are big, big names. Like I'm not positive if Klaus Janson was in there, but that's but that kind of air,
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe Sal Buscema maybe, There's a couple of them. Some of the Conan inkers.
Oh, now those are legendary.
Yeah, and he's
Bernie Chan.
Yeah, maybe. It. I really don't know if that book's even around much anymore, but if it is, it's a really interesting book. I wish I had it so I could really revisit.
Well, I remember, looking at a lot of the early books, and they will say, "Be careful in terms of what you're doing." There's always over rendering.
Yes.
Yes.
And like you think just because you've got more, line work doesn't mean that it's that it's good. Just because look at all that line work. Wow, look at all that. No, it's not that it's not that important. What are you leaving out? I mean, look at Roth. And Toth rather.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
He leaves out so much. It's all simplicity, and but if you can, and here's the thing though, when you talk about style, there's style of drawing where your images and your shapes are very harsh and jagged, right? And then you've got those who are that's a bit more flowy, and soft in shapes.
Yeah.
And many times you may try to emulate, one thing or another, but what are you naturally, what's your personality comes through in the kind of shape and line that you use, if you have psychological, a lot of demons in you, you're going to see that on your line.
I feel called out.
Kind of you're not going to be able to do it because there's something that just doesn't feel right. It doesn't ring true.
One thing that I always try to send to the reader is feelings in a panel, and for a long time I tried to express myself looking at the ink drawings of Bernie Wrightson, and you don't have, let's say, the lines of the panel. The drawing itself draws the limits of that panel in certain pages, and I think in my case, when I look at that, that's so hard to make. And I'm looking back again at those ink drawings so that I can put something on that in my new comic. But there's so much to learn. Composition, the shadows, the equilibrium between black and white, and basically have a balance towards all panel. I think I think that's the most difficult thing to do when it comes to send to an audience a feeling, a kind of if the drawing, the character is sad, you don't have to look at his expressions, but you can look at the tone and the way that the panel is drawn and inked, that you can feel what that character or that scene tries to send you. So I think for me it's the most difficult part of make that transition and give the sentiment of that. I don't know if I express myself well.
No.
Yeah.
Well, but for example, let's talk about teeth. If you went there and you drew every individual teeth, individual tooth, It wouldn't look
Yeah.
right. It just wouldn't look right. Now we know that looking at somebody, you could see their individual teeth, but when you're illustrating it, it just doesn't look right. Now, the thing about that is, you can also come back and use that awkwardness for some kind of crazy character, really big. But if you just want a plain illustration of something normal, something that you're trying to convey, drawing every individual tooth it's just going to look horrible. It just looks bad.
Oh, yeah. Well,
sorry, John. Sorry.
I was going to say, one of the things that you can do is, when you have somebody who's very toothy, that's your villain.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look at it, and that's your go-to, or there is something odd about it. Now I will show you this here. There are some times you will see some, and this is I may be totally wrong and misremembering it, but sometimes the teeth will be misconstrued as, well, this person may not be bad, but there's something off about the person.
Right.
Yeah.
Buscema did that a lot.
Pardon?
John Buscema did that a lot.
Yeah.
Especially in Conan. The weird faces and the teeth, almost all of them drawn for the bad guys, or or someone shady. And when you look at Conan, he doesn't have that, and other characters, women. But the bad guys always have the teeth.
You have that part, and you do that, and the way one way you can make it even, you may not have to draw all the teeth, but what you can do is make sure that the teeth are not straight line; they are jagged.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you don't have to take that line all the way up to the gum. All you need to do is just have the line cut into the shape of the tooth that's next to it.
Yeah.
And you have the same effect.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it's just those little things and those little tricks right there that that really help help your art really convey.
It's the same with like just having a character with one or two teeth that are actually emphasized while having no other characteristics facially, and it just instantly makes them look goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, Goofy is the best example of that.
Yeah, right? Literally, right?
Yeah, no, literally. Exactly. SpongeBob. God. There's quite a few.
Oh, yeah. It's
Holy crap!
and I think that's what I like about art. I think everybody has their way that they like what they do. What appeals to them about art, but I really do like the problem solving aspect of it. Just trying to figure out, how am I going to convey this feeling? How am I going to convey this emotion, this action?
Yeah, and that's the challenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the challenge.
And it's crazy because I was working with something the other day. And I needed the to look like they were pushing themselves up. Yeah. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, what is wrong with this hand that I cannot get this? And you realize that it's not the hand that was the problem. It's, like the shoulder having to come up, because of that force.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the important thing is you learn that that's what you're working with. And a lot of times I will, again, I'll do my morning breakfast sketches, are basically just a lot of just doing stuff and just drawing on it. Just adding a. Let's go to here. I mean, a lot of it is just this.
Yeah.
Just
this is and just feeling where everything is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
That's all I'm doing here is just saying, okay, how can I just lay it down and just feel that there's a pressure going on? Because when you press down here, that the bone is the shoulder go up there. Okay,
Yeah.
So if you're going to have if you're going to arch your butt, you're going to have to stick it up like that. Okay, and then stretch your neck out, and then you're kind of like sniffing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all impression, and I haven't done anything. I haven't thought it out other than felt it. It's kind of like if you think about modeling clay, you're always feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And that's how I've always approached my drawings. I'm feeling it, not thinking it.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, a
That's
lot more
what we're
creators
saying.
should do that.
Yeah.
Way more creators should do that.
Well, that's how I think about when I'm trying, and I try to keep that in mind. Like for instance, like I'm kind of going around here. Let me show this real quick. Let me move it. That's no. Oh, good. Digital.
No.
Look how well that worked. Anyway,
We have been saved.
But right here around this ankle, you see that little grass area goes around. So instead of just going straight like that, I'm thinking about how it curves. So I'm kind of feeling it, feeling it go through. And remember, like I said earlier, it's kind of remembering that we're working in a 3D space.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Let me get my ugly mug off of there. All right.
Do you teach drawings? See?
Oh no.
No? Never
This
thought
is
about
just
it?
stuff that I'm just, things that I remember, or that, just doing it, I guess. And really, when I throw it out there, I'm waiting for somebody to come back and say, no, don't do that. It's like,
The problem is that usually when you're saying it like, this is what I do, most people are just going to look at you and be like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, right.
And you're here going, but no, it doesn't. I'm weird. I'm odd.
Right.
This doesn't make sense.
Oh, everybody does that. No.
No. My individuality.
No. But that's okay, because if you hear people who have been in the business for many years, have been doing art for many years, say, "Oh yeah, that's usually how that goes." And you feel a sense of I'm getting it, because you can.
Yes.
Somebody was talking. I think it was Mark Brooks was talking about this the other day. I heard him talking about how you draw every day to get better. If you draw every day, if you continue, you'll get better. And that's the thing. But you can practice every day, but you've got to also practice right.
Yes.
You have to practice the right techniques or whatever. If you're practicing the wrong way all the time.
That happened to me a lot. A long time ago.
Yeah, like you sometimes just get stuck in a loop, and you're just not focusing on the things that you, as a creator, are lacking on, because either you don't enjoy it as much, or you're simply not interested, or whatever, really. But generally, like, the things you find that bother you are the small things that actually just need either a mental reminder or just a quick lesson on, and to be going, okay, so this is how you actually do it.
Right. Well, and we're in an age where we have to be careful who we listen to, because anybody could come up with a YouTube channel right now and say, "Oh, this is the right way to do it."
Yeah.
You kind of find out. That's why if you're going to listen to somebody, always make sure
My general rule, for looking for people that I can learn from is whether they're saying this is the way or this is their way.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
The moment they go, okay, so this is my way, then you pretty much know that this is something they found out themselves or they got taught, and they know there's other ways, but it works for them and it makes them most efficient.
Yeah.
I have seen a lot, like I know a couple of YouTubers that are going, this is the way. And no, it's not.
Yeah.
It never is. Like, good luck, but no, it doesn't work like that. Art is literally the most open and versatile way of doing things ever. There is no wrong way to do it except for less efficient ones.
Right. I would. I can't help but when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I would listen. I would look to see who is this person and what did they do. Let me see what the person, the professional, what they accomplished. And
yes.
do I like what they've done?
Ah, exactly. Yes.
I mean, because but here's the thing: is that you just because someone is teaching doesn't mean, just because somebody has gotten a position teaching a class doesn't mean that person has got a much more a very valid thing of information to show.
Right.
Me. I mean, I prefer looking and studying the things that I enjoy or I'm attracted to or I'm open to and wish I could do. And I'd like to know how they did that. You can't study everything all at the same time. But there are certain things that you say, okay, I know how to do this, I think. Let me see, is it valid? Am I coming up with a valid thought or a way of working? And I'd like to see how other people work.
Yes.
So, and so I want to know why did you do that? That's the first thing. Why did you do that? And what was your decision on making on doing something a certain way?
Right.
I don't care. I mean, everybody goes through a phase of like, well, what are the special tools that they used? No, forget that.
No.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about the tools.
Forget the tools. What is it? How did you hold that tool? What did you do why did you use that tool?
Yes.
So there are a lot of questions that somebody should ask, and that's your basic news item. Who's doing it? What are they doing? Why are they doing it? And how? All those various questions, because you're attracted to their work, you'd like to emulate them, but that's only your starting point. If you're going to copy them, you can be influenced by them, but move forward. And then once you've reached a certain comfort level, push yourself.
Right.
That's let's put it this way. This is the furthest I was always attracted to more muscular characters. I never thought I'd be working with more feminine characters.
Mm.
You know what? Fair enough.
But I never really work with pretty stuff because that my mind does not work that way.
Yeah, no. I would go absolutely.
Maybe I'm missing out on stuff, but I'm working at it from a point of view of, okay, there is a softness to characters, but at the same time, I don't do pinups.
No.
Right.
No, I'm exactly the same. Like I have drawn way too much smut because it makes money. Back in the day. But honestly, like it's so unfulfilling. And yeah, pretty girls are fun and all, but when it comes down to it, it's not exactly a challenge anymore. You can literally just drop a 3D model in Clip Studio, pose it, trace over it real fast, put a character on top of it, and you have your fan art or, your original character that someone wants you to put in a pinup or sexy pose. And it's boring.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Now with AI art, you don't even have to do that. Anybody can then say, okay, computer, tell me, here's the pose I want to see. I want this costume on it. I want this position, and so on.
Yeah.
I mean we're going to the point where you're going to have to really be an artist, and by an artist, I mean, what are you saying with your drawing? No, not visualizing, but you're making a point.
Yeah, and the thing that bothers me most is where people may start saying things are good enough for them.
Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that the moment that the general public is going to embrace artificial intelligent art that has no personality to it, it was just prompts into a machine, and they will look at it and go, yeah, this is good enough, this is I find this art.
Yeah. There's a lot of people online though making fun of this that aren't artists.
Yeah.
That are
exactly.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be some kind of uses for it, but I just don't think that it's going to do what they think it's going to do. If you consider, like, for instance, the Marvel artist who traces, if you consider that cheating,
yeah,
you're gonna. These people out there are going, and most people that think that that's really cheating, that's really adamant about that, or even the a couple years back or so many months back when they were saying using reference is cheating, which is ridiculous. But
no.
Yeah, right. But if you have that out there, this is really gonna have a hard time catching on. I might be wrong. I wouldn't be the first time.
The problem is, though, the reason most people will call tracing or referencing or using 3D models as cheating is because they can't do it themselves.
Right.
They will embrace AI art because they can do it themselves. They don't have to put in the effort. They don't have to be jealous about it. That's terrifying.
Well,
I don't know if you asked the same question maybe 30 years ago, to Kane or Colin or Fukushima or whatever, I think they would say people are lazy, right? I think they will say that, or they don't know our job. And
honestly, they still say that today, and I agree.
And when you look at manga, I now I have Clip Studio Paint, and I was watching. I'm not a manga fan because I didn't grow up with manga, and I never liked the art, for instance. I never liked, and the style doesn't appeal to me because I grew up. Shut up, Flash. Because I grew up with European comics, and when I was looking at tutorials to get better at Eclipse Studio, I noticed that they use a lot of 3D backgrounds and all that. But when you're a manga artist, and I saw a documentary about that, their schedule is insane. You know, they
it is.
They have all those hours, and they do books every single week. So they have to they draw, of course, but they use 3D model to help them to achieve faster their goal because they do the job.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like
certain people don't understand that something must begin to go further and to deliver. You have a deadline.
Yeah, like there is a job to be done, and it doesn't matter how you get there. It just needs to be done. And whether you take a week or a month, the job needs to get done. And if you want to get paid, it has to be done in a week. So there you go.
Well, I would say one thing about manga is that the stories and the expressions and the playing and the imagination is what carries it.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
Did we just lose 2 people? What the hell?
Looks like it. Not me. Wow. This is the first.
I know, right?
Yay.
What's going on? See, are you okay?
I just came back. I have no idea. I think that was a StreamYard hiccup or something.
Just disappeared at the same time.
Yeah, StreamYard just glitched out
Somebody
on
clicked the
me.
wrong
It's
button?
still running.
Oh, okay.
No, I got him.
Okay.
I got him. All right.
What happened there?
Okay.
I have StreamYard glitch.
It was
That was weird.
Oh.
That was very weird.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Oh my gosh. We started talking about manga. Somebody wants us to shut up.
Yeah.
There we
I was
go.
gonna say that.
There we go.
To catch up there, I mean, I said that it's the story, it's the imagination.
Are not
it's
comics.
all the stuff
Some people
that's
think
there that carries it.
True.
But they are.
And the reason that
If you
it
don't
carries
know.
it is because everybody uses the same style in many ways.
But that's one thing that bothers me a lot because I used to watch Nerdronic and or Nerdronic or whatever, and other mainstream channels, and I'm not watching them anymore because they are always complaining. And the thing is that people still. I used to be one of them. You know, I used to be one of them because always complaining about what Marvel and DC are doing is not right. You know, but at the end of the day, the best thing I have a lot of Marvel and DC to read from the 70s and 80s, so I really don't care anymore. But the thing is, those people still think that manga is one thing and comics is another completely different stuff.
It's really
because
not.
I still don't understand why. Yeah, but I don't understand because is there comics, manga, European comics, African comics, you know, Martian comics? Everything is comics. So even the paintings in caves are comics. The first comics were made 10,000 years ago. Whatever.
Fair point. Yeah.
You know, so I don't know why they still say that comics are not. Manga is not comics, so I still don't understand why these people think like that.
We're worried about the comic industry dying. They're saying the comic industry is dead because it's not American. That's exactly what it is.
Yes,
and
really?
that's not even necessarily true either. But that's what the sentiment is. The DC and Marvel are not doing it for them anymore. But you could go outside DC and Marvel. You complain, but you sit there and you complain about it, and I'm not going to get on a soapbox about this, but no, there's other aspects, and we need to broaden. Look, the internet is there. David Bowie knew it. David Bowie knew that this was a game changer for the world. Let's utilize that. Let's find stuff that we couldn't find before.
Yeah.
Let's look at webtoons that, how many times did something get independently published because it wouldn't be published by a big publisher, and it takes off and it's popular. Sometimes you only have one or two people in your way as far as those publishers are concerned. But now we have this open platform we can use to really expand not only other people's but our own knowledge of what's out there and our own inspirations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
That's why I'm looking forward knowing more stuff about European comics, because now I want to focus more on the stuff that my father used to have on his collection. And I'm finding out great stuff. I'm finding out incredible black and white from comic books from Italy and Spain.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to post a lot of those stuff because I created an album called European Comics. So yeah, I want to do that.
But you're in Europe.
Okay, so here is the thing. If depending on which country you are in Europe, you're gonna find a lot or nothing at all.
Really?
Yeah.
It's literally one border away, because some languages just don't get translated. And yeah, we have a lot of those. We have a lot of languages here. So even if as a Dutch person, and we are one of the biggest comic readers in the world, together with Belgium and France, we don't get half the things translated from French. So if you get an Italian comic, you have a 70% chance it will appear in French, and maybe a 30% chance it will appear in English or Dutch. So yeah, it's really hard, and not to mention German, or Italian or whatever. Like it's
you would think
translating is expensive.
That's what I was going to ask. What is stopping it from, if it's viable, and the Dutch are your biggest, are these huge comic book readers? You think you would take a chance and have it translated, especially?
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's expensive. It's a pretty big risk, especially if you're going for new IPs.
Right.
And it is a shrinking market, because bookstores rarely want to hold anything other than big names or comic magazines at most. So you're still kind of dependent on the direct market or conventions to get your get your name out there. At the same time, we are starting to get dedicated manga stores.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And why is that?
Because manga is selling right now. That's how it is.
But what I'm saying, the translation is it. I mean, you still have the issue, same situation of translation, right?
Yes and no, because manga will often get translated in bulk, and most Franco-Belgian and just European comics as a whole will have 48 pages a year, which means that you're paying for your job for that year for a single book. Manga gets translated in volumes, so you get like 230 to 300 pages worth of very low panel, very quick dialogue.
Yeah. And
like European comics tend to be slower and just more wordy as a whole. And so it's cheaper to translate manga because an average translator will translate being with payment by the word.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, you can see where that goes wrong.
Yeah, got it.
So yeah, and manga is less of a risk nowadays. It's popular, and therefore it's easier for publishers to go, yeah, you know what, I'm going to go for that instead, because this is popular in Japan, and we only get the best of the best from Japan. So it's going to sell anyway. It's no risk.
Once again, money kind of dictates what cost, and money kind of dictates what becomes popular.
Right.
Exactly.
So and that makes me wonder: is it viable because manga is popular, or is manga popular because it's easily translated because there's not as many words?
It's literally both. And with cartoons, from like starting with the early 2000s, seeing more Japanese anime cartoons made the style very popular, because often these would have a much higher quality animation and story than what we would get on your Saturday morning, making them more popular as well. And that just makes the audience go, okay, so that is where the quality is right now.
Right. There is a, I think it was a French show. Do not ask me the name of it, but my kids would watch it. And it was on Netflix. And it was a French show, but there was virtually, if there was any words, it was maybe one or two. So I can't imagine that they had to spend too much money on translation.
No,
but
voice acting is like voice acting translation is a lot more free, quote unquote, or they tend to take more freedom on translations.
Right.
Yes.
Like legitimately Blue Ocean translations of Dragon Ball Z.
Yes.
You know, you don't go to hell, you go to the other dimension. Because God forbid you actually say the word hell or death or die. Yeah, stuff like that.
Here in Portugal, we had a lot of liberty when it came to translate Dragon Ball Z. Due to the fact that a lot of Portuguese expressions were put into the translations, and a lot of times you were able to remember something that your grandfather said to you when you were a kid, stuff like that. Those iconic those iconic quotes that you heard when you were a kid. And it turned also famous, the series, because of that, because not only it was fun to watch, but also you could relate it a lot with that, also with those things, and especially being in Portuguese, not in Brazilian, in Portuguese, that was a way for manga to enter Portugal. Because if it was in Japanese, in my opinion, I think people would be so interested.
Yeah, no, of course, but you have to have it translated, obviously, because otherwise nobody can read it. They're just going to be like, "Ooh, pretty pictures," but nothing pulls me in.
Right.
But anime dubbing as a whole is very loosely done. They're getting better at it, but from like the early 2000s, especially early 2000s to 2010s, if you got a dub, then you would have hoped to get 70% of what is actually in the Japanese version.
Right. Yeah.
Because they will censor and block and work out everything they can.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that on, I think, backstage on Dispatches the other day, because there's right now, even with subs, there's a lot of controversy going around on how they're changing what's being said and the meanings behind certain things and stuff. So.
Oh yeah, I get that.
I don't remember who it was. It's one of the companies, maybe Crunchyroll.
Probably. That's
maybe?
One of the bigger ones, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But guys, we're coming up to that hour and a half.
I know. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, right? Yeah, we talked about some interesting stuff today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
At least I
definitely.
think so. I was interested in it. I'll put it that way, right? So I'll tell you what, let's go around the room and tell where we can find each other, and
All right.
So John, what's you take?
Well, you can find me on Kickstarter. I still have about 2 weeks left on Bloodwing Angel Chronicles, and it's all books 1, 2, and 3. And but you can find me on YouTube with John Celestri, and my Facebook is John Celestri, and Twitter is @CelestriJohn.
There you go.
There you go.
So if we look for John Celestri, we should be able to find John Celestri.
Oh yeah, if you will. There you go.
Oh, MarV, where can we find you?
Yeah. Last time I was with you, I forgot about the show, so you can find me here every Saturday. I have to put a paper, sometimes I feel like John Biden when I'm talking, sometimes I don't know what I'm saying. So yeah.
Look, we went completely non-political until now.
Until now.
Damn it, Marv.
Look, if they only kick us off, we
we were so close.
Sorry about that. So you can find me here every Saturday and on Instagram and Facebook under the name MarV Sim Killer. I'll be posting new stuff about the second chapter, Michael Hunter of Man, and I will share the print run that I'll get this week from Mixam UK. And if you want to know more about the Sim Killer, just send me a message. We can. I just can let you know a little bit of the character and keep you updated if you want. So thanks once again, and hope we will be here next Saturday. And I wish you all a great week, guys.
All right. Of course, Mr. Remote Mike Jimmy.
Well, you can find me at my Linktree /Fairies and Ents, and I'm sorry I haven't put it in my complete name because I was running a little late. Or it wasn't at least I was on time. I just wasn't sure if I would even be able to join. So that being said, look up for my Linktree /Fairies and Ents, and of course Love on Korra Volume 1 on pre-launch on Kickstarter. Coming January.
All right. Awesome. And of course, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show, of course, we're missing Mr. Rodney Fyke, who is out there in the world selling comics, telling the world about himself. And we wish him the best of luck, and I'm sure he'll be with us next week once again. So for a full panel of Sketchy Saturday. And of course, you can find me at Linktree /C Michael Lanning with Portfolio, Facebook, Twitter, all that jazz. On Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern for Dispatches from Outside the Box, where we're going to be talking about serial killer culture this week. So check that out. Of course, there's a lot of great shows right here on the Indie Comics Network, including Sketchy Saturday, which you'll probably find me back here next week with these guys drawing something. Who knows what, right? So anyway, with that, I'm so long. Bye.
Bye.
Stay awesome, lovelies.
Hey, take care.
Take care, everybody. Hey.